Next Door Neighbors is made possible by the support of the Nissan Foundation, the HCA Foundation, and by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
When you come here, you think that you're alone. You're not. The language is hard, the culture is different. It's not your home, but it will become your home.
There's no words to describe those emotions when we help those people, and now they are part of this new home, new community.
If we can continue to focus on all the good things that the city is doing, that we're doing as individuals, we'll truly end up being good neighbors for one another for the long term.
We are a nation of immigrants. For over 400 years, America has been a beacon for individuals around the globe searching for a better life. And as we Nashvillians know, the strong economy and temperate climate we enjoy have made our city an ideal place to call home and a magnet for those seeking a fresh start. While our new international neighbors make many contributions to our community, they also face challenges that come with adapting to a new environment. A number of nonprofit organizations work tirelessly to address those challenges, and during the next half hour, we'll highlight 3 of them. Transportation, or the lack thereof, can be a major obstacle for Nashville newcomers, especially if they're just learning English. The Tennessee Foreign Language Institute came up with a brilliant solution that happens to be the first of its kind anywhere.
Twee Rocco isn't your run-of-the-mill truck driver. Instead of driving heavy loads across the country, her mission is to lighten the load for refugees who want to learn English by bringing the classroom to them. The English as a Second Language, or ESL To-Go truck, is a service of the Tennessee Foreign Language Institute.
We identified what need existed in the community, and we saw that a lot of refugees, they wanted to attend ESL classes, but they weren't able to do so because they didn't have the transportation to get to and from community centers where English classes were being offered at the time. So what we decided to do was, why don't we bring the English classes to the refugees at the apartments where they live? And the way that we thought would be most effective to do this would be to develop this concept of a mobile classroom. I am responsible for deciding where it is that the truck travels to. I'm in contact with a lot of community leaders from different refugee groups. They can contact me directly and say, hey, there's a large population of Bhutanese refugees in this area who really want to be taking English classes, but those services aren't available to them.
Once the truck is parked, Twee sets up the classroom and steps into her primary role as one of the ESL To-Go instructors, a job for which she is particularly well suited due to a life path shared with many of her students.
My family and I are from Vietnam, and we were part of the boat people that came as refugees from the Vietnam War. Once the war ended, in order to leave Vietnam, you had to escape. And you had to sneak on these small fishing boats, and we have about 150 people at times, and a lot of times those ships sink. So my real dad, my 3 brothers, and my sister went first because my mom was pregnant with me, and their boat sank. So my mom lost everything. She had nothing left, so she said, I'm gonna try again. My mom tried 6 times, not being successful leaving Vietnam. Each time she was put in jail when she was caught. So the 7th time she successfully made it to the refugee camp in Thailand.
Once in the U.S., Twee's mother married a fellow refugee. The young girl suddenly had a new father, brother, and a lot of responsibility.
My parents didn't speak the language. We didn't have any money. We really had nothing. So I picked up English very quickly. So I was the interpreter at a very young age. At 7, I started reading over insurance documents. At school, I would be at the parent and teacher conference at 8 or 9 years old. So growing up, I wasn't quite a child. I was more like an adult.
In spite of, or perhaps because of her challenging childhood, Thuy was determined to be a success and destined to be an inspiration.
I was the first to go to college. I got a scholarship and went to college, went to grad school. Now I organize a lot of the English classes for the Tennessee Foreign Language Institute. I also teach some of the classes, and I train teachers to teach. So wherever there's the desire to learn, we want to be there and have a good certified teacher and use the methods and techniques that would help students learn English effectively, which I didn't get as a child. And that program has just been developed in the last couple of years, so it's pretty amazing.
The response to the ESL To Go program has also been amazing.
Hi, Trey. Hi, how are you? Lazy. You're lazy. Okay, I'm gonna ask you.
We've been incredibly overwhelmed by the demand for classes. Because the truck is so visible, I think that we've attracted so many more students than we otherwise would have been able to reach out to and attract. When they see this truck drive into their apartment complex, they think, what is that? So they come to the truck, they're very curious, and then they find out it's English classes and they ask how they can register. On our first night of testing and registration at our first site, we had over 40 eligible students come out.
While lack of transportation is a major obstacle for many refugees, overcoming deeply ingrained cultural stigmas can be equally challenging.
In our country, we don't want to speak in front of people a lot because of our mindset. We oppressed so many times, so many decades, so we just not lift up our head. So it's come to be worried, to scare, and not to talk to the people.
But once in the classroom, Jaring and her classmates quickly acclimatized to the learning environment.
I saw that they are really patient when they are teaching to the students. They really happy, and with their hearts they teach to the students. And step by step, they teach them what they really need, how to speak in the store, how to ask someone if you don't know something.
When you come here, you think that you're alone. You're not. You have a neighbor that might give you food and clothes. You have an organization that gives you education. The language is hard, the culture is different. It's not your home, but it will become your home. And the language can be learned, and we can help each other. And I think if you rely on yourself, your family, friends, you can do anything. And you look at all the refugees that came here before the Vietnamese, now the Burmese, and all of them are successful in one way or the other. And that's what's amazing. You start from nothing and you become something great.
I really encourage by Thuy that it's almost the same. I understand the situation, and when I see her, she's really brave and she's speaking like Americans. It's really made me encouraged to help my people. I don't go to the American school to be a teacher, but I might teach someday. If I know enough to help my people, I will teach for them.
Actually, I have a 12-year-old that attends the class. I look at her and I was like, that's me. You know, she learned English within a year. She's interpreting for her mom. She comes into the classroom, helps other students, translate documents. I could see in her eyes the same responsibilities that I had. So I see her and I see myself. And I see the Burmese people just like I see the Vietnamese people. We're on the same journey. It's pretty amazing how we got here.
The Tennessee Foreign Language Institute and the ESL To Go program. are very much about filling the needs in the community. We're not out here to duplicate services. We're not out here to compete with what already exists. When we first had the idea for the truck, everyone said, "Oh, who has time for that? It's so much work. You have to write the grants, you have to get the support. It's a long timeline." It took a year and a half of work before we had the truck. But I think that hard work really pays off and it's worth it. So I think that the staff at TFLI and ESL To Go really subscribes to that philosophy that hard work pays off.
Over the past 30 years, World Relief Nashville has given thousands of refugees the gift of a new beginning in Music City. In our next segment, we meet two of the recipients who want to ensure that their gifts keep on giving.
It was horrible being out of the country as a refugee and living under the camp for around 20 years. Now I realize we lived in kind of like hell.
Yam Dangi grew up in exile from his native Bhutan in a Nepalese refugee camp.
Like in one camp, there was around 20 to 30,000 people. All in all, around 120,000 Bhutanese people resided in 7 camps in Nepal. It was awful, to be honest. You can't imagine with a life without electricity, without AC, I mean nothing.
And nothing is basically what Yam and his family had in 2009 when they arrived in Nashville. Fortunately, relief was waiting for them.
World Relief Nashville started in 1987. We're part of a larger organization that's both got U.S. ministries and international, and World Relief decided to open an office here because of the number of internationals that were coming to the city. Most of our client base come through the United States Department of State and are coming through specific programs, and so they're identified by the federal government. Yam Dangi was one of the first Nepali Bhutanese that we serviced here at World Relief. Our reception and placement program works with refugees when they first arrive. We help provide housing, get their children enrolled in school, help them apply for benefits that they're eligible for, enroll them in English classes either taught by our office or by other establishments and organizations throughout the city. We also have employment services which try to help our employable adults find jobs so that they can make a living wage that they can provide for their family.
Everything revolves around the job. So once we find the job, that means we just started being self-sufficient, and then it started helping us to know everything from basic thing like going to grocery, doing the shopping thing, to a lot of the things like to know the laws, rules and regulations. So I would say World Relief has a lot of impact towards not only me but all the refugees who come across the globe.
The mission of World Relief is to empower the local church to serve the most vulnerable, and that's the short form of it. Ultimately, we want to see the local church and the community be reaching out to those that are in the community that need help, and we're a conduit for that where refugees and asylees and immigrants are concerned. One of our specific employment services we call our REACH program. It works with professionals that are coming in from other areas that may be in their home country. They were a doctor or an engineer or something like that, and they're needing a little bit of help to kind of navigate the system so that they can get certified here in the U.S. to do the job that they're already capable of doing and have training in doing.
As a refugee and a microbiologist from Iraq, Muthana Al-Anzi would seem like an ideal candidate for World Relief's REACH program. Instead, he chose to use his language skills to help others like himself as a caseworker with World Relief.
There are a lot of microbiologists here, but few people who can speak a second language and help those people who come as refugees, asylees, and calling US as their home. Language barrier is one of the barriers we have in the social work, and I can help those people more in this country and faster with my ability and my cultural advice to them. We have so many people waiting for a job for 6 to 8 months, and they have families and they are worried about all these federal financial support is temporary up to 8 months, and after that what they're gonna do without a job. And this is what we feel pleasant when we get them, securing them a job before those 8 months finish, and they feel finally they can do things on their own without asking help every time from World Relief or from other agencies or another government department. Now they can work and they can support their family without help. Now they can feel like, okay, I'm standing on my feet. And that's when we feel really proud of our job.
Yam Dangi also felt the need to help those following in his footsteps.
He's been doing casework here for the last 2 or 3 years and does an impeccable job working with all the clients that come through, and just does a great deal of making sure that they get the same or better services than he got when he was here, and making sure that they're able to navigate life here in America.
I use my experience as a refugee that I came through to help my clients right now. So it's easier for me to understand the feelings, to understand the needs. When I talk to them and when I find them very depressed and in a sad mood, I tell them not to worry, because one day everything will be good. There will be caseworker, there will be friend, there will be relatives, there will be agency to support you. So that is the main reason I like my job, because I get to work with the people with the same background as me.
The reason I'm staying with World Relief because the love they show when I was a client, and the tremendous passion they show me and show my family.
The vision of World Relief is to empower the local church to serve the most vulnerable. Me and my family were among the most vulnerable when we first came in here. I didn't have anything with me. That was like starting all over. I'm very grateful to World Relief and its family and what World Relief is doing.
And most of the refugees, after they finish the program, they're gonna tell you, we want to pay back. How we can help. And people come back as volunteers, people come to help interpretation, people donate just to keep feeling they are in the same circle and helping our organization, because they feel they're gonna help the next refugee coming, and that refugee gonna help the next one, and so on and on. And I feel that in my heart, and that's why I do my best to help others, not just refugees, but the community I'm living with right now. God using us to relieve other people's suffering and helping them to start a new life. There's no words to describe those emotions when we help those people, and now they are part of this new home, new community.
Finally, our spotlight falls on a nonprofit that is especially close to my heart. Conexion Americas was created in 2002 with the goal of making Nashville stronger by creating an atmosphere of understanding and mutual respect among Latin American immigrants and their new neighbors.
In the last 2 decades, Nashville's Hispanic population has grown by nearly 800%. To assist that growing demographic, Conexion Americas has been working to make the integration of our Latino neighbors easier for everyone in Middle Tennessee through a number of civic, economic, and social programs.
Many of the people who make up our community are first-time Nashvillians who are learning English, who are learning their way in a new system, in a new culture. And so for Conexion Americas and our community in particular, that is an important fact to remember, because that means that we have to make greater efforts about offering English classes, helping people understand the rules of the game in their new community, understanding the school system because they were not educated in the US, helping them understand workforce opportunities and how to start a business.
Headquartered in Casa Azafran, the new community center on Nolensville Road, Conexion is perfectly located to offer support to residents in Nashville's most diverse corridor. A wide range of services are offered at the center, including English and business classes, tax preparation, and homeowner education. A number of local eateries also take advantage of Mesa Kamal, Casa Azafran's state-of-the-art kitchen.
Latinos, like immigrants before us, are very entrepreneurial, so it's very important that we support that entrepreneurial spirit.
The idea behind Mesa Kamal was to help incubate small businesses. You know, sometimes there's no home base for them to operate and to legally go about establishing that business. Mesa Kamal affords people that opportunity. It's meant for you to succeed. It's designed for you to succeed. It's really encouraging to see that you're not alone. And I think that environment helps. Having that community, that sense of community. That's what Mesa Kamal is. It literally means community. And so when you go there, you have the sense that you belong to something that's going to be supportive, something that's going to help you get to the next stage. It's allowed me to do a lot for the community.
The story of Conexion Americas is this realization that the same services that we need, everyone needs. You can come and find out how to get out of debt and manage your finances. You can come and get involved in social advocacy. You hear the sound of someone conducting a meeting. It's all happening at one time, just like it would in a real community, in a real family, all happening all day long under one roof.
Conexion's services reach beyond Casa Azafran as well, emphasizing the importance of education for children as well as parents.
Parents as Partners is really based on the notion that parents are their child's first and most important teacher. So we work with Latino parents. Every semester we're in about 5 different metro schools. We're also in Rutherford County each semester, helping parents learn how the school system works in this country, how to support their children in school, what's a GPA, what's the ACT, how can they advocate for their children. We find that parents love these classes. They form a really strong community with other parents in the classes, and then are really able to not only understand the system, but also help their children at home, have a meeting with their child's principal, do things that they maybe have never done before.
We are from another culture, so we don't know how they working here. So they, take the time to figure out what the Hispanic culture needed, and they just tell us and teaching us and appreciate so much that help and support.
My Cuban grandfather came to this country and didn't speak any English, and so I see and appreciate so much their effort because I see myself as their grandchildren will be in the future. And so I am that example of what happens when you put down those roots in a country and you really help your children succeed. What you're doing is really laying the path for your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren to be successful. I always get a little emotional because it makes me think about our family and our history as a country, and how sometimes we don't realize that when immigrants come that they're really laying down roots that will be making us successful as a country for years and years to come.
One of the stories that makes us realize the impact that we have is how we have been able to develop long-term relationships with many of the families that we have served. A family that bought a house through our program, who also started a business thanks to the training that they received, who now we celebrated with them the graduation of their child from high school, and we know that that's the first person in the family to achieve that milestone. And we have many examples of those kinds of families. We are so enormously proud of families who understand their role in making their families move forward, but how that also extends to their understanding of how they are also part of this community, and they invest their volunteering time mentoring other parents. I think that's when also our community is stronger, when we are able to nurture people that are not just buying a home and benefiting that neighborhood, but when they are also showing up as volunteers on boards and classrooms. I think that's that investment that we're making, it's certainly paying off.
Conexion has grown into a model organization for a city. It really has an enormous impact on how our city is going to move forward, and that's a wonderful thing. Renata does a tremendous job.
Often people think of low-income, working poor families as takers, right? And it's very important to remember that people contribute many assets in many ways that maybe we don't notice easily. And we see it every day. We see a lot of people who are really eager through their churches, through their schools, through the neighborhoods to really, they are as invested to make sure that this community is the best that it can be. They want their children to be in a safe and strong Nashville, and so it's evident to us when we see people who come to start a business, but that also find ways to be part of something greater.
I've heard people call Nashville a melting pot, but there's never anything unique in a melting pot. Everything blends together. Nashville is unique in that it embraces all those differences. It embraces the varying communities, and it allows all of them to excel. That's what Conexion has done. They've allowed people to view not just the Hispanic community differently, but all of these different areas that have different cultures. But they're all geared toward the same thing, making the city better. That's their goal. They just want to make it better.
The vision for Conexion Americas is that as a community, we continue to help Nashville be the example for how to become a truly inclusive community and how we really reap the benefits of having a diverse workforce, because we have invested in the children in our school system, because we have invested in opportunities for workforce development, because we have understood that there's an entrepreneurial spirit to be supported, because we understand that people coming from elsewhere are bringing amazing assets, creativity, and energy that makes the city move forward. And I hope that Conexion Americas will continue to be a very important player in our community in working with others to make that happen.
In future decades, Conexion Americas' mission will become even more vital as Nashville's demographic profile continues to change. By the year 2040, Metro's planning department estimates that Latinos will account for 30% of Davidson County's population.
I also hope Conexion Americas, Casa Safran, and the community as a whole can look back in 2040 and see everything that we did right proactively to make sure that we were prepared for that demographic change, and not only prepared, but that we actually took the deliberate steps to make sure that that propels the prosperity of the city for everybody to enjoy. The stories you've just seen highlight a small fraction of the people and organizations working to make our great city even better. We encourage you to explore our website to learn more about Nashville's rich cultural diversity and get better acquainted with our newest next-door neighbors. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Next Door Neighbors is made possible by the support of the Nissan Foundation, the HCA Foundation, and by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.